Well, as the week-long World Economic Forum ends today, some of the delegates that SABC News spoke to have expressed desire to invest in the country. Many believe that South Africa offers huge investment opportunities in areas of consumer market, mining and tourism. The current political stability under the Government of National Unity has also positioned the country among popular investment destinations. But crime, of course, remains a major concern.
Does it pay off for South Africa to be at WEF in Davos? I think absolutely, because this is like how you create awareness and a dialogue.
South Africa is one of the biggest, most attractive country in Africa. So anyone want to invest in South Africa, and renewable energy is one of the opportunity.
I think in the consumer market there's a lot of things to do, because when the African countries develop, of course demand for different parts will increase, and to have an own local industry and supply for this will be essential.
I think it's definitely a place to invest and to put our side, because it's developing a lot and there's a lot of opportunities, and I think we should definitely look for more Latin America and South Africa collaborations.
I'm ready for Trump to really help South Africa. Maybe the leader of South Africa can do something with Trump.
South Africa is having amazing safari and amazing desert and beaches as well. But the point is that there is huge potential of growth over there. I'm from Pakistan, and I think so I can see huge potential in mining, and then I can huge potential so that your mining experts can help us to extract things out.
All right, let's bring in SABC News economics editor Tshepo Mongoai, who's in Davos for us. A very good afternoon to you, Tshepo. A myriad of views there on South Africa, mostly skewed to the positive. Tell us what's happening where you are.
Absolutely. Good afternoon to you, Mongoai. And of course, this is the final day of the World Economic Forum here in very cold Davos in Switzerland. And of course, we've got a little bit of sunshine, but its temperatures are still very low. And of course, South Africa featuring among those African countries that are here. Unfortunately, this year we've seen very few heads of states that have attended the World Economic Forum. People asking why, but others have argued that perhaps it's the inauguration in the US that have resulted in the very low number of heads of states that have attended this particular forum. A lot of discussions that have been happening here on a number of issues that affect the world and the world economy. And of course, South Africa also trying and fighting hard to be relevant and ensure that they are also part of those discussions. And issues around investments, particularly in tourism, have dominated the discussions. And of course, South Africa being one of the countries that seems to be in a position to, or can actually attract opportunities in that particular sector. Well, for more on this last day of the World Economic Forum, we are joined by Stembile Dlamini. She's the CEO of Gauteng Tourism. She's here. She's been interacting with people around here who are looking for opportunities, and one of them has been, the wildlife that we have that offers huge opportunity, and many believe that opportunity has not been tapped.
No, thank you, Tshepo. I think for me, really, the most important thing or the key learning from this trip in Davos is how they utilize the part of tourism we call business events to actually beneficiate communities. You clearly can see that the organizers of the event have actually taken into account the communities and how communities actually participate economically to actually stage such a huge, platform, global platform. I'll give you an example. I mean, one of the key things that I've learned is how they've used demand and pricing to actually deal with issues of geographic or regional spread. So at the center of it, you've got a place where the meeting or the hub where all the meetings are taking place, but then you have got delegates that are moving into that space, from other places surrounding Davos, which simply means that all communities, not just in the small, town of Davos, but all outer communities are able to benefit because people can travel in and out. Of course, that simply means that we've got to look look at issues around enabling infrastructure. The road infrastructure should be good, the transport system should be reliable, so that we enable delegates to actually see other parts of the area of Davos and other communities, as opposed to us congregating in one area. And with us in Gauteng, we're known to be a business events destination. So an example I can give you, if we are hosting a big conference in the Sandton Convention Center, nothing stops us from saying to delegates, you can actually put up in Pretoria. And fortunately, we've got our Gautrain, so in 25 minutes, a delegate can leave Menlyn Main and get into Sandton within 25 minutes. The safety is there, and then within a walking distance, they'll be able to attend their conference. So that's one of the things that we really have to look at, to say, how do we deal with the issue of regional spread, as opposed to just looking at, one space. People sleep and they meet there and they get entertained there. But then we sort of push delegates outside to other areas.
So what would be some of the challenges that we need to do? You've mentioned the example of the Gautrain. I mean, you've got Soweto as well, which doesn't have the Gautrain. So what are some of the infrastructural challenges that needs to be addressed so that we can emulate this particular model?
If you look at how delegates were moving, the transport infrastructure, public transport becomes important, and it has to be reliable, not just public transport, but also it has to be integrated. I'm not talking about just taxis only. You're looking at, do we have, resuscitating our rail? You've got, for example, the Ria Vias, that can be integrated in that. You also have got tour operators that are within the tourism industry that own cars that can actually, transport delegates. So that's just collaboration amongst transport providers, but also ensuring that the road infrastructure is correct. Our traffic lights are working, but also the issues of safety and traffic police to control the movement of people. So those are some of the supporting infrastructure that would require to ensure that there's seamless movement of delegates in and around, in and out of various communities into the centers where the meetings will be taking place.
One of the things that I've seen here in Davos is that people move out of their properties and rent them out to delegates who are attending the World Economic Forum.
So that begins to tell us that then the notion around we need to build brick and mortar for, we need big hotels only, is incorrect. We've now moved. So in tourism, we've got to really take that step change to say, how do we then involve homeowners and South Africans to be hosts of, whether it's tourists or delegates when they're coming into our country. I mean, a case in point is if you look in Soweto, there is a new conferencing facility. It's AYOT. And one of the things that event organizers will ask us is, do we have adequate accommodation to actually bring in meetings? Let's say, for example, we're bringing about 500. But then it showed us here in Davos that we don't need those hotels there within the township. AYOT can host that conference, but people can be hosts. So communities can be the hosts and provide accommodation and other activities within and around that precinct.
Stembile Dlamini, thank you very much. She's the CEO of Gauteng Tourism. Of course, emphasizing the point that community should be part of some of the major events that we are hosting so that they can benefit. With that, Nompu, it's back to you in studio from Davos.
All right, thank you very much, Tshepo Mongoai, from a very snowy and cold Switzerland.